Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry about that delay. I had the microphone off. We're going to give it a few minutes to let a couple more people come in. Let's see. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. We Mama Dia, her daughter has come forward. But I want to give a couple more people a chance to get in here before I get started. If you guys could, please hit that like button when you come in. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and get this video set up here. And then we'll get started. Let's see.
He said.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Let's see. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and hear what she has to say.
My mother was Mama Dia Magdalena. I don't talk.
Hold on, guys.
Very much about something so personal to people outside of my family and close friends. This is a very painful process to go through, and the healing is different for everyone. So there's a lot of healing that has to happen within my own family, with my husband and our kids, with my mom's brother, sister, aunties, uncles, primos, cousins, everyone, nieces and nephews, uncles and aunties, and the family and friends that she had. So everyone is healing in a different way. And you may find that we don't speak about this online because, number one, priority is family, tending to the living, and honoring the dead, those who have passed, and taking care and attending to any of the needs that arise related to that. That's number one priority. And so any energy or time able to give emotionally has been directed in those directions. I understand that a lot of people want to know lots of information online about what happened with my mother. She passed away in 2018 in June after being with a group, a U.S. citizen-based group that travels throughout Central America. They call themselves Carbon Nation or Melanation, and the members change frequently. You may have read or seen stories of people that leave there in horrible conditions. She arrived there in April of 2018, and by the end of June of 2018, we received a phone call in the morning from Eligio Bishop stating that my mother had passed away during the night. And so that is what happened to my mom that year. Anything related to that, we have spent our time and energy in trying to resolve. But I think people outside of our family are all left wondering what happened and what the details were. Like I said, this is an emotional topic to talk about, and so you will not have seen us online. My brother and I miss my mom very much. And in fact, likely that he and I have felt the pain the most out of everyone affected, which is why you've also seen and heard from us the least, because we have a lot of healing internally to do. And anytime you lose someone, that is not something that can be timelined or tracked or planned for. So many would say, well, why hasn't anyone spoken out already? Well, we've all been busy as a family healing and communicating and doing a lot. Just that people don't see that. And some will say, well, why is someone saying something now? Well, healing takes its own time to happen. And action always comes first. And then you inform. And so I'm just going to share a little bit of information to help share the facts for those of you who perhaps were moved by my mom, Magdalena, also known by Malia. And some of you were maybe inspired by her or cared for her in a different way. So essentially, in July of 2018, beginning of the month, I contacted the Honduran consulate in Mexico, which is standard protocol. If someone who is traveling overseas or out of the country encounters a crime or a situation, such as my mom did, she passed away, and the report officially says through heart issues. However, the details of what caused those issues have not really been shared by the individuals that were there with my mom. And so certain questions haven't still been answered. In addition to that, all of her belongings and items have not been returned, and in fact, they have refused to return them. And so, as my mom was traveling with this US-based group named Carbon Nation, led by Eligio Bishop, and with a variety of other members' names who I will share in a moment. But as she was traveling with them, since she passed away and is a Honduran citizen, then, I contacted the consulate. And so what we stated was, I want to file a report with the Honduran consulate due to some disturbing facts in this case. My mother, a Honduran citizen, died in Palenque, Chiapas, Mexico, while traveling. The associate she was traveling with is named Eligio Bishop, and he turns her into the morgue in Chiapas, Mexico, without clothing, just her body. And he has stolen and kept all of her ID, passport, phone, and items, including clothing, jewelry, and any possessions that she had while she was traveling with them. Eligio has refused to turn them in, upon me asking many times to return the items.
What is up with that? Why won't he just turn in? I mean, he needs to turn over her property. And this isn't the first time I'm hearing about this. I heard that they had asked for the earrings, just the earrings, and he wouldn't even give the earrings to her. It's sad.
Of the individual, my mom, who passed away, seems like a standard procedure to do. And when someone keeps those, that is theft.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, Eligio recorded the phone calls when calling each of us to tell us that our mother had passed away. He recorded when he called my mom's best friend, which we didn't know at the time that he was recording our phone calls. But as he contacted my mom's best friend, myself, my brother, my mom's husband at the time, and other family members, he recorded their phone calls. In addition to that, which doesn't make sense to me at all, which we did not know at the time when he called us to say that my mom passed away, and we were trying to get information. But he had been recording our calls from the beginning. In addition to that, he's been playing those recordings live as a stream on his social media channels, whether that was YouTube or Facebook. This was in 2018, weeks after my mom passed away. He's playing these online as a public stream for people to listen into. Eligio, as well as Rambo, Natural, Velvet, Sheba, Tron, they were all individuals that were there. And when I asked for anyone's real name, I kept getting all these nicknames. So I asked Rambo for his real name and he would not give it. So I'm on the phone with individuals that my mom was staying with and who had seen her last, and no one was willing to give me information. In any case, they said they spoke with police about her death, my mother's death. But when I asked for a name of the officer or a copy of the report, Rambo said that he didn't have one. He didn't get a name or a police report number or a name of the officer that he spoke to. So in addition, I also want to know how I can file a police report in Chiapas for theft of her belongings, as well as further questions as to what my mother was doing the day she passed away, the days leading up to, because after repeatedly asking on the phone what my mom was doing the days leading up to, because she usually asks for assistance or she has some sort of signs or symptoms. And so my husband and I have been asking for that information. They all stated that they cannot talk about that right now. They said there was no time to talk about that and that we needed to hurry up and take care of the body, which they were referring to my mother as the body. Okay, so that's an official first statement that I gave to the Honduran consular, since my mother's a Honduran citizen and that's the proper channels to go through. And that was done way back in July 2018. And so, in 2018. And so that information has already been shared. That is fact. So, on the night of June 26th, my mother died in Palenque, Chiapas, Mexico, while traveling with Legio Bishop and others. On June 27th, Legio Bishop called stating my mother died in her sleep. Our family was able to claim my mother. One of our family members was able to officially, legally claim my mother as a relative, so that the funeral director was able to prepare my mother, which means embalm her and prepare her to be shipped back home to Honduras. Now, when I asked Eligio multiple times to mail my mother's ID, birth certificate, phone, and personal items to me, he said no, they are all keeping it. He has sent threatening things about me and my mother in writing on an online forum. He wrote, "You're dead. Stop worrying about material things. Your mother was dead long before she came down here to us. Don't worry about where we're located. You'll never find us in many lifetimes." And I have printed images of those statements in writing. These are the statements that he made in an online forum while streaming the phone calls of myself, and if not myself, my brother, my mom's husband at the time, and her best friend, family members that he called to tell them that my mom had passed away. He recorded those conversations without their knowledge and played them online in a public forum, and within that forum, made these statements that I just said, for which I do have copies of those. So I have a few disturbing facts that I listed on my report to the consular. Of course, the first one that Eligio turned in my mother without any clothing, and also not including any of her belongings to leave with her when they delivered my mother's body to the morgue. No legal papers for her, nothing. Eligio and the others also left the funeral home very quickly, I found out later. By the time our family was able to talk with the funeral director on the phone, Eligio and the others were gone. During these phone conversations with Eligio and Rambo and Sheba and Velvet and Natural and whoever was on the speaker, which when I asked to speak to my mother's friends, who are my mother's friends? I want to speak to them and see what mom was doing. Then Eligio says, they're all right here. You're on speaker. Her whole family right here. And they're all like, hi, we're all here. Okay, so I hear like 4 or 5 other voices. So some of these individuals were involved in moving my mother after she passed away and taking her to the morgue. But they didn't stay very long. So a lot of the time when we're talking to them, they probably already left. And they kept avoiding our questions that we asked. We wanted more details about what happened because my mom was a very active person before she arrived there. Sure, she did vegan eating before she arrived. She did vegetarian eating before she left to go there. But she was also a manager of a store. She worked 6 days a week. She traveled across the country a couple of times in the last year before she left to go there. So there were some details missing. She isn't just all of a sudden now. I did see a video in which she stated she stopped taking her medication. And it's very convenient to be able to capture someone in one moment saying that they stopped taking the medication. As many people know, with any heart medication, people do skip days and feel like maybe they can scale back and then they switch back on to take the medication. Now, my mother did that from time to time, where she would see if she could not take some for a few days and she'd take them again. When my mother traveled to go with this group that we had never met, and who myself and my husband did not trust, none of my family members trusted this group. But when she left with about 2 months worth of medication with her. Now, someone who's traveling to go visit a place and takes that much medication with them is planning to continue to care for their health while they're there. She made a very specific, conscious choice to make sure to fill that prescription and have those ready for her when she went down there. Okay. So Eligio's friend Rambo, which I don't know his real name because he did not give one over the phone, claims to have contacted the police when my mother died, like I stated. But he said he did not get the police report number or the officer's name. When I did ask him for, okay, well, can I get your first and last name? Hello, I'm talking to people who just informed me that my mom passed away and she's in a completely different country. Of course, I want to get the names of the people. Like, this is a serious situation. And when I ask for his first and last name, he doesn't say anything. It just becomes crickets. I asked what my mother was doing the night she died and the days leading up to it. Eligio said, we can't talk about that right now. We need to hurry, and they're waiting so that you can get the body. Velvet also said that. We need to hurry. You have to hurry. We don't have time to talk about that right now. And I'm like, where are my mom's friends? And they're like, where are all her friends? It's her and
notice how Velvet was right with him when all this was going on.
But I don't know if she had a different name, but we're all here, we're here. And so I asked again, what was she doing? And nobody could say anything. They should have said we can't talk about that right now.
And this is anything that someone, when you lose a loved one, you want to know, just not even just because you're questioning their intentions or their motives, but you want to just know, what was this person doing? Did they say any last words? And I feel like this woman had that stolen from her for whatever reason that they were trying to hide or cover up. She had this stolen from her, and the least they could have done, these people have no sympathy. They didn't say, I'm sorry. They didn't say, they didn't try to put her at ease in any way. It's just unbelievable. You're defensive if you're guilty of something. Why were they getting so defensive and in a rush? And it's just crazy, the things that they get by with.
What I want to explain is that at the same time that I'm having these conversations with them, my family is frantically working to see how they can make the official channels to claim my mother, which takes quite a bit of steps to authenticate papers and documentation and identity. And at the same time, they're in communication. My family's in communication with the funeral home and the embassy, getting all the right information. And yet, when I'm speaking to Eligio and Velvet and Sheba and Rambo and Natural, Baby Tron's on her phone, I just know I'm on speakerphone and there's a lot of people around. I tell them my uncle is working on going through the proper channels and is handling that. I have the time to speak on this. We are not wasting time doing this. He's handling one thing. So stop interrupting my uncle's conversations, my uncle's calls, and let him focus on getting that done and take care of my mother. You guys can talk to me right now. We are here and we can answer these questions. But they would never want to answer them. So it was on July 20th that Eligio played these audio recordings live on his online show. He also showed a written copy of her death certificate online. And you could hear each person crying as they found out my mother passed away, while thousands of people are watching this YouTube live feed. Okay, first of all, I'm not in the world of carbonation. I just know that there was a lot of things that were distressworthy about it. And so I always questioned and warned my mother about going, but she lives on the other side of the country. And she's a very kind person. And I'm sure that whatever information was given to her in a certain way made it seem as if they were good people. And my mom would probably give people the benefit of the doubt, even though she was seeing and hearing these negative things. Eligio always had an explanation for it to explain it away. And so given that situation, I don't understand why he felt the need to play sorrowful messages of individuals finding out that someone close to them had just died. And while doing this and showing this written copy, being extremely arrogant, uncaring, definitely, and unethical. This is very disturbing. And I am not spending my time just searching for this type of video to watch. Someone told me this guy is on here playing phone calls of your family, crying, discovering that your mom has passed. And so then we turned it on to see, and I could see and hear them, which was very, very cruel. So I didn't watch that. There's no way, because those types of conversations are not meant to be replayed. They're not meant to be reheard, and I don't need to sit there and listen to them, because no one should have heard those. They should not have been recorded.
No.
In any case, I do have copies of the types of things he was saying on my screen. Now, for some people, they'll talk about this written copy. What I can state is that an official death certificate has many, many avenues to go through to become certified, okay? And rest assured that our family has received a certified copy. Okay? If you're seeing something in writing, that's probably just an intake form. And so the information from when I saw it in 2018 seemed to match, but it was like a written intake form. Okay? It's not an official death certificate. We have an official certified death certificate. Okay? So he does not have that. That looks to be some written intake form that they completed at the morgue. It's not something that can be used for anything. It's not official. It's not certified. It's just informational. So that's what I can say on that. I also just let them know that Eligio Bishop is a U.S. citizen that has gotten into trouble throughout Central America, arrested in Costa Rica and fought with police, trouble in Honduras, and he fled, and now Mexico. And that he's a danger and needs to be found for questioning. When my mom went to visit Carbonation, she went and landed in Belize. And yet they moved around quite a bit to the point that they ended up in Mexico, which was never her first intention, first of all. So apparently this group moves around a lot. So that's already one scenario that was not in my mom's plan. Number two, when my mother had decided she was going to go and do this, we discussed talking about staying in constant contact with each other and including doing video chatting or Skype communication regularly because she was working on eating more naturally. She was going to cut off her relaxed hair and we were going to discuss some different natural hair care because I and my family have been utilizing a formula that I've been working on for years at this point already. So my mom already knew about this and was very happy about that. And I told her that I was going to send something for her. And she was like, yes, we can Skype regularly. We can do a natural hair journey. So this was the intention that my mom had. Contact with the outside world, constant communication, that we were going to talk regularly, and she was going to just be living naturally and maybe learning some different energetic things. Okay. And then the communication definitely stopped, where I was texting her a lot and I wasn't getting any responses back. Eventually, probably after a month and a half or so, I got some kind of communication in her Facebook Messenger.
Oh, wow.
But very minimal, to the point that I wondered if it was even my mother. And then all of her postings changed on Facebook to being something different, like very much.
Yeah, I mean, why? I don't believe she would go all that time and not speak to her mom. And then she even admitted, or to her daughter, and then she's even saying that she don't even think that was her mom that was sending her those minimal messages that she was sending. So yeah, I mean, and Nature Boy, he is known for putting people in a closet if they misbehave, or, you know, I mean, was he like not allowing her to speak to the family? Or because I know that's one of his big things, that he don't want them speaking to the families.
Much focused on rhetoric and quotations from teachings of Eligio or his group, which seems very unnatural for my mother. And anyone that knew my mom and was family members all questioned that. We definitely all did. Another thing I'll say that was planned, like I stated, she took her medication with her for a huge supply. And so she was definitely planning on taking care of her health, even if she was trying out some different eating methods. That was never her intention, to just throw everything away and feel like she was at the end of her life, because she wasn't. My mother was only 59 years old She was very vibrant, like I stated. In any case, the contact that we had with carbonation was very dangerous. It was very, his interactions with individuals just didn't seem right. And what I noticed is that they tried to have the women look very happy, or the women look like they're doing great. So it kind of makes you feel like maybe this is okay, but the things he says just sounds very idiotic, and very overpowering to the point that you're aggressive and lording over the individuals that you're around in your group. And we definitely never felt comfortable with my mom going down there for anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
So in any case, some of the things we asked Eligio during that live stream, I have like 6 different copies of the type of sentences he said. Of course, the live stream, who knows where it went, and all the comments disappear after a while. But what you'll see is you've got quite a few people that liked and loved what Nature Boy stated, Eligio Bishop stated that was very cruel and rude. And so a lot of people still support these individuals.
Oh yeah, it don't matter. He could say the most vile thing, and people will still support him. They're online. It's like I don't know. It's crazy.
And so, we never had a positive reflection or a positive vibration from this group. Always concerned and worried. And I'm very, very sad and heartbroken that my mom is no longer with us. This necklace is actually one of the last things that she gave me before she left. She visited us in 2017, visited lots of family. So we had just very recently seen her, probably like 9 months before she went to carbonation. Some of the things that we didn't know while my mom was there are also disturbing. There are certain things that we found out after my mom passed away. And when they came to light, it made us even more worried and concerned about the circumstances that my mom was living in before she passed, and if she truly had access to the outside world. I'll say this. Number one, upon arriving in Belize, she was supposed to be picked up by someone at the airport, someone from the carbonation melanated group. And instead, she got a phone call, and they said she would have to take a cab out to where they were. Now, we discovered this later on from my mom's best friend. As we have been communicating as a family, is healing in a whirlwind about what just happened, and we're all sharing information, our little tidbits as we start talking, because we're all in different parts of the country. And she stated that, right from the jump, something happened that wasn't right, and she was concerned. And then, so my mom arrives there. Now, my mother, who was very sincere in her journey, who already was eating healthy in her own life, was just taking another, step from what she saw. She had a box of her pots mailed to her down to the carbonation area. And when the box of items arrived, she's like, we're going to cook. They do a cooking show. They're vegan and natural. And so we're going to be using things from nature and the environment. And I figured having some really good quality cooking pots would be great. And instead, when the box arrived, and when she told them that there was a box coming for her, she was scolded. And those are the words that my mom used, that she was scolded for having something arrive, getting mailed to them, because no one's supposed to know where they're supposed to be. And according to Alicia, it was because that way tons of people don't show up there. And then there'd be too many people that want to come to this awesome place. Who scolds someone who's 59 and just showing up with the sincerity to cook with good quality utensils? And then you're going to scold her. And she sounded worried when she contacted her best friend and said, you know what? I need you to not send those items because I just got scolded for having those things being shipped here. Can you please just cancel it? And her friend tried to make arrangements to get it intercepted, but it was already at a warehouse and already at a distribution center, but I think she was able to intercept it. But that was also a red sign. Sign number 2, my mom did not realize that she would not be able to share the address of where she lived, which is concerning to know that they actually did that and scolded my mother for wanting to bring pots and pans there. And then, like I stated, the third thing, she planned to do video chatting frequently, and that did not occur. And in fact, we found out that the only time she had a phone conversation was 2 times with someone outside of carbonation. She was able to make a phone call 2 times, to have an audio phone call in the 3 months that she was there. And also, if she was able to text a message to her friend, our friend here in the United States, my mom's very, very good best friend, when she sent messages to her, my mother asked her, please delete the messages because I don't know if they'll be able to tell that I was talking to you. We're not supposed to be on our phones. We're not supposed to be contacting people. And so I could get in trouble. So when we're done talking, just delete the Facebook messages from your side, and I'll delete mine because I don't know what still shows up. And so my mom's best friend.
Again, doesn't that ring bells that maybe she was held against her will? She wasn't allowed to speak to anybody. I mean, if they would go as far as to, if she was scared of even making contact with her friend, that means that maybe she was allegedly held against her will as well. And even if that, I mean, it's just hard to tell. It's hard telling.
Friend removes those items. She said that she could tell when she talked to my mom because the conversation was different, where they were talking about personal experiences and like real actual things that my mom talks about. Whereas the other times when my mom's friend would text a message, the messages that came from my mom's supposed Facebook Messenger was very short and like 2 or 3 words, and I love myself, or some kind of sentence like that, which is not how my mom talks.
So why, hold on. So why is it that, so it's obvious that because that's Nature Boy right there. I love myself. It's hard telling what all happened to her. I mean, we are just never going to know. I don't think we're ever going to know. So let's fast forward here and see.
Sending a thumbnail.
Okay, hold on just a minute. I think that was the end of her interview. Remove this. Okay. Yeah, so that was Mama Dia's daughter speaking out. and getting her side of some of the things that had happened. I would like to have known more, like more information, like was there an autopsy done, the cause of death. There's just so many unanswered questions about Mama Dia. And I mean, what was the condition of her, body when she was brought back? Did she have any bruises? Did she have a significant amount of weight loss? I don't know. But I think if she had to sneak, because it seems like maybe they caught her sneaking and talking to her friend, and then after that, Nature Boy was maybe allegedly taking over the conversation, and speaking a couple words here and there by saying, "Yeah, I love myself," just to keep other people thinking that was her. But either way, it's just a whole mess, and it's sad that this had happened. It's sad for the daughter. It's sad that Nature Boy is choosing to keep Mama Dia's items. And what's even more crazy is that Velvet was right next to him when all of this was going on. So, yeah. Keep the daughter in your prayers. If you guys haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you haven't liked the video, please like the video. Until next time, have a good day.